Hi, so welcome to the series of core Java interview questions. So in this video, we'll cover this multi-threading topic. So before all the questions, just 2 3 non-technical questions. What is the ratio in multi-threading selection in today's world? Right. So this is my personal experience. So 5 out of 100, only 5 people are selected out of 100. What is the chance to get on work on multi-threading projects? That's a very rare chance you get it to work on multi-threading projects. What is the chance to get multi-threading questions? Even if you do not get the projects on multi-threading, but multi-threading questions, 100% chance is there in interview. So what is the secret to clear multi-threading interview? Right. So the only one request I'm telling you that please don't use traditional approach to use list of question and answers from the net. And that is not sufficient. Right. So many ways are there. So this is one of the way I would like to tell you. So clearing multi-threading interview. So I have created all the materials and I posted on my GitHub repository, which is public repository. Anybody can access from any location. So Sanjay Degavkar, this is what my account, and under that IRP, which is nothing but an interview readiness program. So under that, I have one folder multi-threading, and all the material you will find it under this folder. But what is that all material? Let me tell you. Okay, so banking application using multi-threading and synchronized keyword, especially. Then wait and notify example. Then multi-threading MCQ code based. Only 15 questions are there. Then yeah, this is one of the most important topic, concurrent API. Then whatever the notes and as well as examples, all these things are there in basic and advanced multi-threading notes. This is the text file, you will find it. Then one small file, various modifiers in Java. And obviously this current YouTube video session. So let's start our multi-threading questions. Okay, so what is the thread? This is the first question, right? So I'm using one of the definition from the Kathy Syria book, that is separate path of execution. Okay, so every statement you should be able to answer practically. Now, what is the meaning of separate path of execution? So let me show you one small demo. So I won't spend much time on demo. The ready-made demos are there. I will execute, or sometimes I will type 1 or 2 lines. Okay, so I already created one sample code, class my thread extends thread, public void run, and child thread, and then this is main method, and in this we have a main thread. Okay, so in main thread we are printing the message parent thread. In child thread we are printing the message child thread. Right? So which thread is going to execute first? We can't predict, as thread scheduler decide this one. Okay, so now both the threads are executed successfully. So let me run the same example once again with the help of thread.step 500. Okay, so after this, deliberately throw new, say, null pointer exception. And in parent thread also, thread.slip. Say 1000. then we have to write down try catch block. Last time. Basically, I want to show you the message that we got the exception, but still another thread executes. So main thread has a separate path and child thread has a separate path. So even if you get the exception in one of the thread, it doesn't affect another thread. So that is what the thread. So separate path of execution. Our next question is, when is the job of thread finished? So just now we have seen in the first case, okay, run method completes, right? What is the first case? When the job of run method completes, then thread is finished. What is the second scenario in case of unhandled exception? Right. So if an interviewer asks, okay, what are the real life examples of multi-threading? So basically for faster execution, we use this multi-threading. And these are some of the examples: web server, video games, multimedia, animations, right? You can explain any one example, whichever you feel suitable. So video games implementation. The player is playing the game and at the same time we are getting score. So playing the game is one thread, getting the score is another thread, right? Which is executing concurrently. If you remember the servlet, whether one request or 1,000 requests, how many objects are created, right? So only one object is created. And then if we get 1,000 requests, for that 1,000 threads are created. So you can give any example. One of the basic questions you may get, okay, wait, notify all, start, run, so belonging to which class, right? The first, wait, notify all, these three methods are belonging to object class. And start and run, these methods are belonging to the thread class. So on every topic, you should know the hierarchy. Okay, let me open the Java docs. Okay, so here thread class, java.lang.thread, and superclass is java.lang.object. All right, so thread class also implements runnable interface. Okay, so next question is main method and main method thread same? Right, so answer is no. So main method is called by main thread. So how many threads are there by default in a single program? So single thread, and that thread is main thread. Then how do we create our own thread? By extending thread or by implementing runnable interface? Right. Okay, so in the last example, we call this run method. So one of the interview question is, who calls this run method? Many times we get the answer that okay, start method calls the run method. So that is not the answer. So answer is thread scheduler, which is a part of JVM. It calls run method. So what is the job of start then? It registers this thread with a thread scheduler. So as a simple analogy, when we go to the hotel, we give the order to the waiter. The job of waiter is accept the order and pass it to the cook. So just like that, we have a job of start. Okay, register this thread with thread scheduler. Then thread scheduler will decide to call which thread, right? If we pass a multiple thread request, so then thread scheduler will decide which thread to call. So behavior is not guaranteed. Right? So how thread scheduler decides? It's based on algorithm. With every JVM, we may get different algorithm, right? So maybe shortest job first, or round robin, or first come first serve. Okay, the next question. So what if I call run method instead of start? Okay, so come back to the example. So instead of start, if I call run method, will I get any compilation error? So answer is no. Then what is the output I'm getting? So whatever I have written in a child thread, I am getting the same thing, but thread will not created in this case. So no compilation error. What if I call run method instead of start? So it will treat as an normal method. Okay, so next question is what if I do not write run method? Okay, so in case of class mythread exchange thread, so if I do not override this run method, what happens? Will I get any compilation error? So answer is no. But what is the output I'm getting from child thread? I'm not getting anything because if you see in docs, it will call run method with empty implementation. So there is nothing in implementation. So in case of class mythread exchange thread, output is no. Exchange thread. Okay, there is one more way, that is implementing runnable interface. In that case, what happens? So if I do not write on run method, so here itself I am getting compilation error. Right? The compilation error in case I implement runnable. One of the interview question you may get, okay, which one is best, whether by extending thread class or by implementing runnable interface. Right? Say we don't want to extend entire behavior. So that's the reason implements runnable is better approach. And second thing is when you extend the thread, then no more class you can extend it. Right? So this is the difference you can tell to the interviewer. Next interview question. Now I have a run method and then public void start. In this case, we have a start method and run method both, and then here I am calling m.start. So what we have discussed earlier, that when the start method is called, it gives the request to the thread scheduler, and when thread scheduler calls a run method. But in this case, instead of child thread, we are getting the message start. So it is never recommended to override this method. It's not overridden, writing additional method start. Can we overload run method? Yes, overloading is possible. The next question is, what is illegal thread state exception? So if you call the same thread twice, right? So here m dot start. We get illegal thread state exception. So we have a thread lifecycle. So only once you can call start method. Right. So after starting the thread, if you are trying to start the same thread, then we'll get runtime exception, that is illegal thread state exception. The next questions you may get it that explain thread lifecycle, and with the coding you should be able to answer. Right. So when you create, say for example, just assume that my thread extend thread is there. So my thread t equal to new my thread. So this is what the stage new or born. When we call t dot start, the stage is ready or runnable. So it's not running. So when the thread scheduler will start, at that time, the state will change from runnable to running. If a run method completes, yeah, dead state. If a running thread calls, say for example, yield method, so goes to once again runnable state. Then if a running thread calls join method, goes to something like waiting state, right? So it has this life cycle. Okay, the next question is, what is illegal monitor state exception? So last time we have discussed illegal thread state exception. So this time, what is illegal monitor state exception? So basically, if you call without lock, right? So without lock, if you try to call the wait method, illegal monitor state exception comes. So that's the reason prerequisite to call wait method is that object must be locked. Right? Okay, so can we apply synchronize with the constructor? So with this constructor, we can use private by default, then protected, and only one of the modifier is allowed. So synchronize is not allowed. So synchronize either with the method or block. Okay, the next question is explain wait method. So I would like to give you two definition of wait method. So here object, and then with the wait method, causes the current thread to wait until another thread invokes notify. Right, so especially in inter-thread communication, this wait and notify uses. So invoke the notify method or notify all. Now this is very technical line, right? So practically you should be able to answer if the interviewer asks practical example. So causes the current thread to wait until another thread invokes notify. Or I would like to give you one more definition. Release the lock. Right? So there are 2 points with the wait method. So release the lock means there must be a lock first, and then next is put that thread object in a wait pool. Okay. Now this wait pool is completely different from what other pools like integer pool or thread pool or connection pool or string constant pool, right? So we have an integer pool range from -128 to 127. So what is the meaning of pool? Right? If I have a 5 integer objects with the same value with this range, so it is not going to create different objects. Same object, it is going to store it in integer pool. So for multiple threads, there is a thread pool. For database connection, there is a connection pooling. So all these pools are something like where we have a n number of objects. But for wait pool, for every single object, there is a separate wait pool, right? And this is one of the reasons to get the deadlock, right? If your object is in wait pool and if you do not call notify method, then you get deadlock. Right? Let's try to understand this with an example. So producer consumer is the best example for this wait and notify. So what I'm doing is here, like I'm creating 2 separate threads. One is producer and another is consumer. So producer is producing the numbers and consumer is consuming the numbers. So this is what the example I have. So public before that warehouse. I created 4 separate classes warehouse. So I have here private stack goods. So one of the collection class in a goods, I'm going to add the number. So good dot push. So there are ready-made methods push and pop. So one method for add atom and another is remove atom, right? So let me remove this synchronized. So in a producer under the run method, just I'm generating randomly one integer numbers and adding it to the warehouse add atom. In a consumer, I'm continuously consuming the numbers. So both the process happens continuously. Then in a main app, I created the object of warehouse, then producer consumer object. Then I created two separate threads and calling the same things. Okay, so let's execute this snippet. Okay, so what is the conclusion with this output? We are getting empty stack exception. So what does it mean? So there was a situation that there was nothing in a stack, and then we are trying to pop the element. And see, one more point. We got half exception message before atom added 61 and then half message after this one. So this itself is an example of multi-threading, right? Okay, so we want proper communication between these two threads. So what to use? Now we can understand this definition from the Java docs. Causes the current thread to wait. Right? So I want to apply the pause on a current thread. So what is that current thread? Something like say I can create a scenario that I don't want to produce more than 10 numbers. At that time, I want to pause that process. Okay, so here, what to lock first? So I am locking this warehouse, right? So how to lock it? By applying synchronized keyword. Synchronize wide added and here public. So I'm locking this warehouse object, right? And then I'm writing the condition that if goods dot size equal to 10, so I don't want to produce more than 10 numbers. Then release the lock if this condition is true. Please release the lock. And in case of remove atom, if goods dot size is 0, so if the stack is empty, okay, please release the lock. Don't execute this one. Now when I execute this project, so I'm getting atom added and then up to 10 times this is executed, and after this is what nothing but a deadlock situation. So as I told you that for every object there is a separate breakpool, and then if you do not call notify, it goes in a dead state, right? So here from both the methods I have to call notify. Then I will never get any dead state or any problem, right? So both the cases it is executing, adding and removing. So this is all about the wait method. So how to avoid the deadlock? So just we have discussed. When you call the wait method, ensure to call notify. Avoid nested lock. So this is one of the common reason we get deadlock. And then wherever possible, apply the join method. For example, parent thread and child thread. You want to execute child thread first. So on a child thread, you can apply the join to finish that thread first, and then you can execute parent thread. Avoid unnecessary locks. So you have to identify whether the lock is really needed or not. So these are some of the solutions you can tell to the interviewer. The next is, what is the benefit of synchronized? Right. So benefit is to overcome data inconsistency problem. So let's try to understand this synchronized keyword with the sample project. Okay, so I have a banking application. So it is very, very common application where I have an account number and amount. Then, so don't worry about this code. Just functionality is sufficient for you to understand this synchronized. Okay, and then I have not created using professional manner, something like service layer, DAO layer, and all these things. So the purpose is to understand the synchronized keyword. Okay, so ICICI Bank I have created where I have a create account method, search account, right, withdraw amount, and for all these things I created two exceptions: insufficient balance exceptions. If the balance is not available, then generate this exception, and another is invalid account number exception. So if the account does not exist, in that case, please generate this exception. So this is what the scenario. So for that, I created a bank runner which implements runnable, right? So on the client side, so first of all, I created bank object. Then I created two accounts. So what is the information required to create account? Just two things: account number and amount. So 101 and then amount is 3000. 102 amount is 3000. Then bank runner object, right? So where I created two separate thread for withdrawing the amount, right? So child thread 1, child thread 2. So for the child thread 1, I have written the message as a first. For child thread 2, I have written the message as a second. So let's go to the bank runner. Okay, so what I'm doing it here, with the help of this method thread.currentThread.getName.equals. If the thread name is first, okay, withdraw the amount from 101, 2000 and 102, 2000. So basically 1000 balance from both the account numbers we should get it. Okay, so let us execute this project. So account created successfully, two accounts, and from both the accounts balance is 1000 and 1000. Okay, so now next change from the bank runner. In both the threads, instead of 101 and 102, in both the places I am writing 101. So from the client side, with the 101, total amount at the time of account creation is 3000. And then now with this scenario, we should get one time, that is 1000 balance, and another time insufficient balance exception. Yeah, so this time we are getting the output 1000 and 1000, so which is inconsistent output. Let me execute some more times. 1000 and 1000. See, so this time 1000 and insufficient balance. Yeah, 1000 and 1000. Okay, so what is the benefit with the synchronized to overcome data inconsistency problem? So we are getting it here, the same problem. So now, one approach is what, if I use the single keyword here, synchronized, and then if I execute it, whether one time or 1000 times, I'm going to get the correct output. Right? But there is a big problem with this approach. So methods are never locked. So where I have written this synchronized under the class ICICI Bank, so that object is locked. And then say if one customer is withdrawing the amount from Jammu Kashmir, at that time nobody else can withdraw the amount from any other area. So this is what the scenario we created. So locking the correct object is very important. So in this case, instead of locking entire object, we should lock account object. So here before the method we have written, so I am deleting that one. So now after this, synchronize account, and then now if I execute it, I will get the proper output. Okay, so now next 5 minutes are very challenging, right? Okay, so what is that challenge? Let's try to understand. We'll create n number of scenarios, and based on that scenario, we have to find out the answers. So we have a class ICICI Bank, and then just assume that various methods are there: withdraw amount, deposit amount. So we created the object like ICICI Bank, Bank 1, then new ICICI Bank. So on that bank, like 2 threads are there, thread 1 and thread 2. In some of the scenario, we may have a different object also. So ideally, there should be a singleton design pattern with this bank 1. So we are not focusing on that part. So here we want to focus on synchronize keyword with various scenarios. Let me show you the same scenario with the help of one diagram. So we have a ICICI Bank, right? Then withdraw amount and deposit amount. Both the methods are synchronized. Then how many objects are there? So I have a object like bank 1 object, right? Okay. Then how many threads are there? Thread 1 and thread 2. So the one of the $1 million question is how many locks and keys are available with this scenario? So how many classes are there? One class is there. How many objects are there? Bank 1 object. So as there is only one object, so one lock, and with that one lock, we have one key is available. So just remember this one. Now if both the methods are synchronized, so thread 1 want to call say withdraw amount and thread 2 want to call deposit amount. So is concurrent access possible? Yes or no? So answer is no. So what is the reason? Because thread 1 is already acquired this key. So whenever you want to access any synchronized method, we require the key. Until thread 1 release that key, thread 2 can't access that method. So that is what the first question. So thread 1 wants to execute method withdraw amount, which is synchronized on a object bank 1. And thread 2 wants to execute method deposit amount, which is synchronized on object same bank 1. So is concurrent access possible? So it's not possible, right? Because only one key is there. Another scenario is thread 1 want to access withdraw amount. So first method is synchronized and second method is not synchronized, right? So yes, concurrent access is possible. So why it is possible? Because key is not required to access this deposit amount method. So next question is, so first method, and for first method we have a bank 1 object, and for second method we have a different object, bank 2, and both the methods are synchronized. So is concurrent access possible? So it is not a race condition, possible, because for bank 1 there is a different key and for bank 2 there is a different key. So that's the reason it is possible. So next question is, can you synchronize static methods? So answer is yes. Thanks for watching this video. The link is given in the description. So in the next session, we'll see the advanced part of synchronize as well as concurrent API examples. Thank you.